If you're just tuning in now, I'm about to drop the N-word. Some would even call it the N-bomb. Hard R. Nuclear. Apparently, Karoline Leavitt, the press secretary of the White House of the United States of America, apparently she dropped some nukes on the press. Apparently, she called out Hasan Piker's favorite organization, literally went nuclear on every other news industry out there, is beefing with Elon Musk or something. Lock in, boys and girl. We are gonna go crazy today. I'm very excited, especially because, from what I understand, the government is gonna start looking into Hasan Piker, the largest leftist political streamer, because apparently pushing terrorist propaganda is getting people killed. So, anywho, lock in, boys and girl. It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
How are you? Good.
Hello.
It's good to see all of you.
Hello.
I want to start by...
I'm really disappointed she's not wearing her cross today. I feel like today, of all days, you need the cross. CNN asks you a bullshit question, you just pick up the cross and they turn to ash. I'm feeling...
Addressing the horrific
we're missing
act
something
of violence
here.
that took place on Sunday in Boulder, Colorado. President Trump and the entire administration's hearts go out to the victims, and they are in our prayers during this unimaginable time.
Yeah, awful. I covered that. Yeah, horrible.
According to reporting from Fox News, the alleged attacker admitted in an interview that he wanted to kill all Zionist people. And
according to Hasan, that means he's not anti-Semitic. That's the new leftist grift, by the way. The new leftist grift is just people saying, oh, no, he's just killing Zionists in America, not Jews.
Had been planning the attack for over a year.
A year planning the attack. Holy shit.
And would do it again if he could.
I mean, that's what they're asking a lot of Hamas people in the news. And they're like, yeah, we would do another October 7th. We would do another fucking atrocious terrorist attack, even if it means leveling Gaza. That is the crazy shit that these terrorists are actually saying. They're fucking horrible. It's unreal that you have people on the left actively supporting these people.
This monster used a makeshift flamethrower and Molotov cocktails to light Jewish Americans on fire in an attempt to burn them alive. The victims at the incident location in Boulder were there to rally in support of Israeli hostages who remain in Hamas captivity. 12 were injured, including a Holocaust survivor. This is pure evil. The Department of Justice has already filed federal hate crime charges against the alleged perpetrator, and he will be held accountable to the fullest extent.
Bro's a terrorist. Bro is a terrorist in the United States of America.
Of the law. This tragedy is a sobering reminder of the consequences of the Biden administration's failed policies.
Biden? I mean, dude was an illegal immigrant. She's right. She's literally just right.
The Department of Homeland Security. The Boulder suspect is an Egyptian national who was in the United States illegally. He entered the U.S. during the Biden administration in August 2022 on a B-2 visa until it expired. Upon the visa expiration, he overstayed, filed an asylum claim, and was given a work authorization by the Biden administration. Instead of deporting this heinous individual, Joe Biden's administration allowed him to stay in our country and to work.
Crazy.
President Trump sounded the alarm over
insane.
these reckless Biden policies for years because this is the predictable result of letting anti-American radicals and illegal immigrants pour into our country.
She's completely right. Everything she's saying is correct. There should be no people in America that are not American citizens that hate America. If you're not an American citizen, with all due respect, get a frick out of here. Get out. We don't need you here. We don't need people here that are like death to America in America. If they're not American citizens, remove them. Holy shit. It's like, it's obvious. And these people, they've all been posting about this for years. Right? This dude was planning this attack for a year. People found his old Facebook accounts and he's been saying this shit forever. Bro, get them out.
Immigration.
And by the way, important to note, most Christians are Zionists. Zionists just means people that think the country of Israel has the right to exist. Most people in America are Zionists, all right? You get people like Hasan Piker on Twitch essentially condoning violence to just random Americans.
Security is national security. And that's why the Trump administration, at the direction of our great president, has secured our border, strengthened our immigration system, and has taken immediate steps to protect the United States from foreign terrorists and other public safety threats.
Incredibly based. Incredibly, unfathomably based. We gotta make America a country of people that actually like America. And if you're not an American citizen, and you're in America, and you're shitting on America, with all due respect, get the fuck out. It's that easy. It's literally that easy.
President Trump acted swiftly upon taking office to reform our visa issuance process to ensure that dangerous aliens who are intent on harming Americans or our national security interests are no longer admitted into our country. Under the Trump administration, aliens will only be admitted into the United States through the legal process only if they do not bear hostile attitudes towards our citizens, our culture, our government, our institutions, or most importantly, our founding principles. Under President Trump, the United States has zero tolerance for foreign visitors.
Dude, I'm so happy that finally we're living in an era where people are not, like, suicidally empathetic. It's like, I know that you want to cause the downfall of Western civilization, but please, join us. Please, I know you're a rapist terrorist, but listen, if we don't accept you, that'll make some people racist. So let's let you in. Guys, you want to hear a funny joke? So there was a Christian and a Muslim that were in England arguing with each other, and they arrested the Christian. That was it. That was the whole joke. Was it funny?
Who support terrorism. Violators of U.S. law, including international students, will continue to face visa denial or revocation and deportation. And illegal alien criminals will continue to be arrested and deported from our country.
Good.
On that
Good
note,
riddance. Dude, I get so much hate for like these opinions. Like, I'm not being empathetic enough. With all due respect, fuck your empathy. Your empathy is retarded. Enough of this. Enough of this!
Federal law enforcement partners just wrapped up a month-long surge operation arresting nearly 1,500 illegal aliens in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. During the enhanced operation, dubbed Operation Patriot, ICE Boston and other federal law enforcement personnel focused on transnational organized crime, gangs.
Yeah, I heard about this. Largest ever ICE operation results in nearly 1,500 illegals arrested in Blue State. Unfathomably based. Enough suicidal empathy. No more empathy for the cruel. Empathy to the cruel is cruelty to the innocent. You are the bad guy. Sorry, I care about Americans.
And dangerous illegal alien offenders throughout Mass. More than half of the nearly 1,500 illegals arrested had significant criminal convictions or charges pending against them. Here are just some of the violent illegal aliens who were removed from communities in Massachusetts
Let's go.
during Operation Patriot.
Yeah, the news is trying to both sides this. I know. Dude, these virtue signaling, fake empathetic, social justice retards try so hard to make this like a two sides issue. It's like, actually, it's very nuanced. Actually, it's not nuanced, and you're retarded and lame and gay.
A Salvadorian national with active Interpol red notice for aggravated homicide. A Guatemalan national and registered sex offender who had pending criminal charges in Boston for 5 counts of indecent assault and battery on a person 14 or over.
Oh my God.
A Honduran national who was last arrested for rape, indecent assault, and battery of a person 14 or over. A Colombian national.
Operation Patriot, bring out the wood chipper.
Charged with kidnapping, aggravated rape, and indecent assault and battery on a person 14 or over. And a Guatemalan national who was convicted of murder in Boston. Also, a Brazilian national who was charged with aggravated rape of a child by force and possession of child pornography. Again, these are people who are living in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Yeah, well, thank God. Thank God they're getting rid of them. And may they continue to get rid of them. All right, listen. Breaking into the country illegally is a crime. In my opinion, the punishment for that crime? Kicking them the fuck out of the country. All right? These are all criminals. All of them. Oh my God, a country needs borders, for God's sake. And why would you bring people into the country that hate your country? What the suicidal empathy motherfuck is happening? Why are we catering to these people? It's like you'll have people in Pakistan, all right, and they'll be like, Daddy, am I allowed to criticize the government? No, you're not allowed to criticize the government. They could put you to death. Anyway, the kid goes to America. Daddy, can we criticize the government here? Yes, we could criticize the government. Oh, good. Death to America. Let them all die. Like, what the fuck is happening? Nice.
And lastly, a Salvadorian national whose criminal history includes charges of aggravated rape of a child by force. I don't think anybody in this room wants these types of heinous criminals in your communities. And it's thanks to this administration that they are being
look at all these Biden voters that they're kicking out of the country. That's crazy.
Moved from our country. When Democrat-run jurisdictions released violent illegal alien criminals back into communities after making arrests instead of turning them over to federal immigration enforcement like they should, those Democrats are putting law-abiding Americans at risk. And these insane policies force law enforcement officials to make much more difficult arrests that put their lives, our law enforcement lives, in jeopardy.
So true. I don't think that it's so disgusting that people don't seem to care about the lives of like law enforcement agents or ICE agents or even soldiers. Like the fact it's like, oh, they're putting their life on the line. That's their job. Well, why would you endanger these people? Like, exterminatus. Get them the hell out of here.
President Trump is incredibly grateful for our heroic officers on the front lines getting these violent, illegal alien invaders out of our communities. Law and order is back in America under President Trump. And on that note...
And for some reason, suspiciously, the violent crime on the left side of the aisle has gotten so unreal. Like, dude, the fact that there are the church of Luigi Mangione out there, people praising actual, like, murderers. Like violent vigilante murderers. It's insane.
Our new
firebombing Tesla dealerships.
Crime statistics that show crime is plummeting. In fact, Politico summed it up like this. Murder rates are tumbling across the U.S. in 2025. Homicide stats are down at least 20% over last year. And we could be on course for the lowest number on record.
Sheesh.
With President Trump in charge, the days of criminals being put over victims are over. On the topic of immigration, the Washington Post just ran one of the most ridiculous...
Dude, I know. I was about to show you the Washington Post title. Oh my God, it's the greatest. Dude, this is why you don't hate the media enough. All right, get ready for this.
Headlines ever, even by their standards. On my very first briefing. Several months ago, I said I would hold anyone accountable in this room. The Washington Post actually had this...
This is the exact article I was going to show you. The mysterious drop in fentanyl seizures on the U.S.-Mexico border. The reasons behind the decrease of fentanyl seizures in the U.S. and along the Mexican borders are complex. It is not complex. It is not mysterious. They closed the border. They're arresting the criminals. And they're throwing the cartels out of the country. Like, what? This is the least mysterious shit of all time. Like, what is happening?
This headline, the mysterious drop in fentanyl seizures on the U.S.-Mexico border. How is this mysterious? There is no mystery about why there is a decrease.
Yeah, 99% of the illegal entries into the country are stopped. This is amazing. It's a big wall. It's a great wall. Everyone talks about this wall. We're stopping the people from entering the country. And coincidentally, a lot less fentanyl is coming in.
And fentanyl coming into the United States. This administration's strong border policies are the reason there has been...
Bro, think of George Floyd, all right? He might have survived.
Decrease in fentanyl trafficking, his strengthened relationship with Mexican President Sheinbaum, and all of the measures he has been taking to deter illegal human and drug trafficking at our United States southern border is the reason for plummeting fentanyl seizures at the U.S. border.
No shit.
There's nothing mysterious about that, and we'd like to see the Washington Post update their headline accordingly.
I mean, yeah, I would love that too, but that is crazy. That is crazy.
This is clearly trying to intentionally manipulate the minds of the Americans.
And it works, by the way. It actually works. Like, and if we didn't have, like, X or Twitter or whatever, people would fall for this shit all the time. These hoaxes would actually make it. And they keep trying to peddle more of them.
And I think the American people understand why there's been a fentanyl drop. And our office responded to this inquiry. We provided a whole host of the reasons that fentanyl seizures at the southern border have dropped, and the Washington Post refused to run them. And that's despicable. In other news, positive economic reports continue to flood in. Inflation dropped to 2.1% in April. Personal income increased 0.8% in April. So inflation is down and wages are up. That's almost triple the expectation and against the doubts of nearly everyone in this room.
Yep. Every single person in the press was running how the market was going to die and Americans were going to starve and all that shit was happening.
And we also saw the largest monthly decline in the trade deficit on record as a result of President Trump's very powerful tariffs. Lastly, the price of eggs has dropped more than 61%.
Yay! Look at that.
President Trump took office in January. I remember my very first briefing, I was asked about the cost of eggs.
Dude, the media is like actual fucking retards.
The reporter tried to insinuate it was this administration's fault, even though he had only been here for a few days or weeks. It was a result of the previous administration's terrible policies, and in record time, this president has fixed that problem that he inherited from Joe Biden, and now egg prices have dropped 61%.
And the media does not care. I love that she doesn't forget and she actually does hold the media accountable. Like, because they need to be held accountable. You don't hate the media enough. I have been saying you don't hate the media enough for a long time. It's become like one of my taglines, bro. And you know who borrowed that quote? You know who borrowed that quote? You do not hate the media enough? That's right, baby. Talking about Elon motherfucking Musk, dog. I'm talking about my guy. You don't hate the media enough, brothers. I am telling you. Holy. Yeah, anyway.
Since this president took office. There's a lot of good news, and I'm sure you have a lot of questions, so let's get to them. We have just the news and our new media seat today. Amanda Head, thank you for being with us. Why don't you kick us off?
Sure, thank you so much. There is a disturbing trend of anti-Semitism turning into terrorism. Of course, the Colorado
it's a trend.
Just mentioned the 2 Israeli embassy staffers who were murdered. Pennsylvania governor's mansion with the Jewish governor inside getting set on fire. Does the president consider?
Yeah, a lot of people don't even know that happened. That they lit the I think Josh Shapiro, Democratic Jewish guy, they lit his house on fire. The fucking mostly peaceful protesters.
This domestic terrorism, and as such, are there official alerts to law enforcement, BOLOs, task forces, things like that?
The president has made it very clear, as he said in his statement yesterday, that yes, these anti-Semitic acts of violence are do qualify as terrorism, and he does not want terrorism or violence of any form taking place in the United States of America. And as for specifically anti-Semitic terrorism and anti-Semitic acts of violence and those that are targeting Jewish Americans, this administration has done more to combat that violence than any administration in history. And one incident is one too many. And I think, frankly, that's something the previous administration was not willing to say.
She's right. Harvard didn't actually say anything about that shit. Columbia didn't say anything about that shit. You'd have students getting beaten up on those campuses, and no one said anything because, well, I guess you didn't have Egyptians firebombing people in the middle of Boulder, Colorado. But yeah, no, it's getting hairy out there, and I think that the leftist terrorist shit, I don't even think it's just like anti-Semitic shit. I think it's specifically this entire concept of the modern left essentially being radicalized to the point where you need to inflict violence upon your enemies. I think it's disgusting and it needs to get investigated.
This president will stand up for Americans of all religions, of all faiths, of all creeds, and we will continue to look at policy measures and actions that we can take in addition to the actions that have already been taken to curb this anti-Semitic violence. And to Jewish Americans at home, across the country, this president has your back.
And then on another...
Thank you, Mr. President. I feel heard. I feel approved. Thank you so much for that. Very cool. Very cool.
Issue. Back in February...
There's this guy, Hasan Piker, you should look into. What a fucking retard, am I right? There are a couple of them. I have a list. We'll start with him.
Secretary Kennedy created a commission to re-examine the childhood vaccine schedule. But there are still states outstanding like California, Connecticut, Maine that are not allowing any religious exemptions for kids not only to go to school but to participate in sports and extracurricular activities. Would the president want to see religious exemptions allowed across all 50 states? And how do you enforce that, especially with states like California that are already defying the president on the men and women's sports issue?
Generally speaking, I know the president supports religious exemptions for families when it comes to vaccinations. As for the instances in those specific states, I'll have the administration and the White House look into it and see what executive action, if any, we can take on that front. Thank you.
All right, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We're now we're in hurricane season, and obviously there is great concern every year about the potential for that. Can you speak to how the president is planning to have the level of support should it be needed?
Bro, Could Mr. President please ask the Jews to turn off the weather machines? And what is Mr. President doing about combating God in regards to hurricanes?
To be as it has been with a reduction in the workforce, and is he still comfortable with Administrator Richardson, who had talked, whether joking or not, about not being aware of a hurricane season for this country? What is the president's level of briefings on what may be required? If you could give us kind of an overall update on that.
Sure. Well, of course, we know that we are into hurricane season now, and I know FEMA is taking this seriously, contrary to some of the reporting we have seen based on jokes that were made and leaks from meetings.
We're going to take this seriously.
Secretary Kristi Noem and the FEMA leadership are all over this. They are committed to ensuring that federal resources and tax dollars are there for Americans in need.
Listen,
and
Mr.
the president continues to review requests for emergency aid and care.
You arrest Hasan Piker, I will turn off the weather. Deal? Deal.
Fully considering them. However, this president has made it clear we're not going to enable states to make bad decisions with federal tax dollars and then have the federal government later have to bail these states out.
No more of this bullshit California shit. Remember when California ran out of water? Oh, we ran out of water. We can't put out the fires. Unfortunately, we didn't want to ruin the smelt fish. All right. Unfortunately, we had to. We have more genders than fire hydrants in this state.
See states be responsible with their tax dollars to do as much as they possibly can, and then the president will deeply and thoughtfully consider
Yep, makes sense to me.
aid that comes
Makes
to his
sense to
desk.
me.
And I think some of the media reporting we've seen on this is frankly sloppy and irresponsible. There are serious people who are taking this issue seriously, starting with the president himself, who, as you know, on his first domestic trip back in office.
Yeah, a lot of people don't actually know this, but Mr. President Donald Trump, the 47th, the 45th president of the United States, no one knows who was 46th, but Trump was 45 and 47. That dude was active AF in regards to helping people out in dire natural disasters. Him and Elon Musk and Starlink and all that shit. But you know what? No one cared because Nazis and fascism, and Elon Musk did a Hitler salute. Remember that?
Visited both North Carolina and California, both of which were, of course, hit by natural disasters when he wasn't even president, but he took ownership of that and visited those places and those people immediately. Brian.
Season appropriate, though, now that this is serious business, as you talked about.
What do you mean? What's he supposed to do? Why is she asking these questions?
It's serious business, Kelly, and I'm not going to engage in such fodder with a question like that.
I'm so glad she actually fucking slapped her across the face with words. Holy, incredibly based, absolutely annihilated. Oh my god. Like, why are you asking these questions? What are you trying to do? Try to manipulate the American people to thinking it's Trump's fault that hurricanes happen? Like, holy, stop fear-mongering for just a second.
Brian.
Thank you, Caroline. Reuters was reporting that there is a letter that is meant to be sent to other countries, which would give these countries a deadline of Wednesday to produce their best offer on the trade matter. Why does the administration feel the need to send this letter? And I have one more follow-up on trade.
Sure, I can confirm the merits in the content of the letter.
All right.
USTR sent this letter to all of our trading partners just to give them a friendly reminder that the deadline is coming up.
Base!
They are
Listen, I'm just saying, I know shit's gonna suck for you if you don't make a deal. Reminding you, TikTok, motherfucker! Makes sense to me.
talks. Ambassador Greer, Secretary Best, and Secretary Lutnick are in talks with many of our key trading partners around the globe. As you know, Brian, I know the Wall Street Journal has covered this quite heavily, and they continue to be engaged in those discussions. And this letter was simply to remind these countries that the deadline is approaching and the president expects good deals, and we are on track for that, I will emphasize.
On the trade side, though, when the deal with the United Kingdom, there was this idea of a reprieve on the auto tariffs. Is the president looking to do another similar deal on the sector-by-sector reduction in tariffs, or is this more going to be deals related to
It's a negotiation. Obviously, she's not going to tell you here. It's a negotiation between two countries.
reciprocal tariffs that were announced?
Reciprocal tariffs.
Well,
I love that word.
Previously from the podium, and the president has discussed as well, each country has unique advantages, unique challenges.
Well, every country has something else to offer, and also every country, you have to realize, every country has different tariffs that they have on the United States. So reciprocal tariffs just means that the deal that Trump gives them is based on what they could return. It's my second favorite R word, reciprocal. Right after my actual favorite R word, retarded.
To it based on their markets and what they export to us and what we export to them. And so that's why the president smartly advised his trade team to engage in tailor-made deal making. And we saw that with the United Kingdom, and we will see that with other countries as well.
Kate. Does the president support the Senate moving forward with a bill imposing heavy sanctions on Russia?
Look, the president has spoken about his position on sanctions on Russia. He has smartly kept this as a tool in his toolbox if necessary, but I think the Senate...
Dude, Ukraine absolutely butt-fucked Russia yesterday. Did you see that shit? Oh my god. Dude, they absolutely annihilated them. It was crazy. Hold on, I have to show this to you. It is actually insane. Ukraine. They literally fired drones. Dude, I'm not even shitting you. This is like a real thing that happened. They managed to smuggle drones into Russia and then launch them and literally had them fly in the shape of a penis. This is an actual map of drones. I'm not joking. This is an actual map of the drones. All right? Like that has got that. Come on, dude. That's a penis. All right, stop. So they put these drones in a truck that they got Russian truck drivers to deliver, and then they activated the drones from within Russia, and then they flew in the shape of a penis. Like, let's be this is crazy. Ukraine has won all the goodwill in the world. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Operation Cockhole. Get them, boys. Get them, boys. That was crazy.
happened, everyone on Capitol Hill respects the president is the commander-in-chief for a reason. And as you
Yes, that's why I said Ukraine fucked Russia. Yes, exactly. They deeply penetrated Russian territory with that one.
know, Russia and Ukraine engaged in direct talks yesterday. That was at the encouragement of this president when he spoke to both leaders of both countries via phone just a couple of weeks ago. And so I would just like to remind everybody how far we have come in just 4 months. I mean, it was inconceivable last year at this time for Russia and Ukraine to be engaged in direct talks. And it's because of the president's insistence and determination to get this war to an end that these countries sat down yesterday. So he's willing to use sanctions if he needs them. In the Senate and in the Capitol Hill understand that the president is the commander-in-chief and he's leading United States foreign policy as he should.
Look, what I know for a fact is Trump saw the cock-shaped drone strike, all right? He saw that shit, and he wanted to tweet, but he knew that he can't tweet, or Vladimir will never make a deal. And he's sitting there in his office, JD, I want to tweet. I know I shouldn't, but JD, it's the shape of a penis. I'm seeing it right now. It's almost as big as mine. JD, stop me from tweeting immediately.
Iran, the president said that the U.S. would not allow for any uranium enrichment, but the proposal offered to the Iranians reportedly allows for low levels of enrichment. Can you...
Oh my god, why are people asking these questions? They're letting Iran use nuclear resources for civilian power, but they're not allowing to enrich it to make weapons out of it.
Explain that discrepancy?
I'm not going to comment on alleged details of the report. We're not going to negotiate through the media out of respect for these ongoing discussions and negotiations that Special Envoy Witkoff is leading. The president made his position very clear on Truth Social last night. In fact, it couldn't be any more clear, and I would reiterate that.
Iran is not getting a nuclear weapon under Trump. Nope, that's not happening. I want a deal, but if we don't make a deal, we'll bomb the fuck out of you. JD, hit the red button, JD. I'm busy. I'm looking at Ukraine's cock missiles.
Special Envoy Witkoff sent a very detailed and acceptable proposal to the Iranian regime that the president hopes they will accept.
I will see.
And if not, they will face grave consequences, as the president himself has reiterated.
Based, by the way, a lot of people don't realize that Iran is a threat. It is a threat to America. They are legitimate a threat to America. They are the biggest sponsors of terror on the planet. Absolutely. They cannot get a nuke. He's gonna hit him. He doesn't want them to say the N-bomb.
Sure.
Thanks. A couple of things, if I may. Firstly, can you confirm whether or not President Trump is going to be going to the NATO summit in The Hague later this year?
I can confirm he will be going to the NATO summit, yes.
He travels around for an old guy, huh?
Great, thanks. Another question on the Netherlands, in fact. Just wondering if you have any reaction to the collapse of the Dutch government after the anti-EU and anti-Islam leader Geert Wilders, who's been described as the Dutch Trump, pulled out of the government there.
Bro, Trump is literally transcended. All right, you have people running in other countries. I am the Dutch Trump. I wear a wig and I'm based.
I don't have to comment on that, but certainly we should and we will get you one, okay?
Nice.
You're welcome. Brett.
Dutch Trump.
I want to
All 7 Trumps. All the Trumps. Every country needs a Trump.
ask, a couple days ago, the president announced that he was withdrawing the nomination of Jared Isaacman to lead NASA, citing a thorough review of prior associations. I wondered, why did this review happen just now, after the nominee was so far into the process? And can you explain the president's thinking on who he might choose?
Look, the president reserves the right to nominate individuals to key administration posts. He also reserves the right to remove those individuals if he chooses, just like he reserves the right to fire anybody in the executive branch that he wants.
So
a new replacement for NASA will be announced very soon, as the president himself said.
Was there something in particular that came up that caused the president concern with this nomination?
The president wants to ensure that all of his nominees are aligned fully with the America First mission of this administration, and again, he will be announcing a replacement very soon. Andrew, go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline.
You're welcome.
It's been just about a month since President and Prime Minister Starmer announced...
I can't see you all the way back there. There you go.
So it's been just about a month since Prime Minister Starmer and President Trump announced that the U.S. and U.K. had reached a trade deal, a framework from a deal. Now there are at least some conservative MPs in London who are complaining that Parliament has not yet seen the text of any deal.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little embarrassed that Tectone has a press pass and I don't.
So I'd like to ask you from this side of the pond, is there a text for the deal ready to be released?
No, or they would have released it already, dog. Literally. Why do they ask these questions? Yes, they made a deal, and it's not official and public what the deal is. So no, they don't have it, or it would be public.
And if not, when can we expect it?
All
And then I
right,
have
there we
one
go.
more.
There
There's
we
most
go.
definitely text with this deal. There is language that
Okay.
this side has seen. You'll have to ask the UK Parliament why they haven't seen it from their own government. I obviously can't answer that question.
And on
Yeah, because they don't have freedom in the United Kingdom.
Caroline, one more on Ukraine,
Go ahead,
please.
Jonathan. Sure, go ahead.
On Ukraine, it's been a couple of days since Ukraine made that audacious drone strike on Russian airfields. The president hasn't said a word about it. And
Yeah, we all know exactly why the president didn't say anything about it. JD, look at that beat. Take my phone, JD. I can't stop. I can't stop. Audacious. The erect drone strike. Yeah, that drone strike penetrated deep into Russian territory, for real, for real.
Usually he's not shy about making his thoughts known.
Well, yes, when he's working as a mediator. He's working as a mediator between Russia and Ukraine. He can't just go out there going crazy, blasting Russia. Holy shit, Vladimir. They fucked you up. They killed you, Vlad. Holy Vladimir. Your butthole must be sore after you got that walloping.
On the war, or it's not bad. On the war or any other subject. What are
It looked like they didn't even use protection, Vladimir. That's crazy.
what have you heard from him on this audacious drone
Never would have happened if I was president.
strike? Is he surprised? He said that Zelensky didn't have the cards when they met in the Oval.
They still don't have the cards. They still do not have the cards. I'm like, realistically, it would take many, many miraculous level of actual operations like this to make headway. Russia has them completely outgunned.
Office a few months back. Does Zelensky possibly have some cards that the president hadn't noticed?
They unloaded inside Russia. They painted the insides, all sorts of colors, mostly white. They painted the insides of Russia with that one. They penetrated him, and now there's an entire other organism there.
About
Look, the president's thinking on the Russia-Ukraine war as it stands, I spoke to him about it just this morning, is he remains positive at the progress that we've seen. Again, he urged both leaders to sit down and talk directly with one another, and they did that. Russia handed over a memorandum of peace, or a peace plan, or a suggestion of one, I understand, to the Ukrainian side. They also agreed upon the exchange of prisoners or hostages from each other's countries. So he remains positive about the progress that we're seeing, but he also is a realist, and he realizes these are two countries that are at war.
These are two countries that are at war. He's not going to sit there and say, tisk, 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 Ukraine, how dare you fight back?
And have been for a long time because of his predecessor's weakness and incompetence. So he's working hard to solve this conflict, and that's where his mind is right now on it. Jonathan, go
Good
ahead.
response. Very, very good response, honestly.
Thank you. Same topic, just to put a finer point on it. Does President Trump approve of Ukraine's decision to strike nuclear-capable bombers in Russia?
I would like to let the president speak on that himself.
And just to follow up, has the
I
president...
would just add to that, the president does not want to see this war prolonged. He wants the fighting to stop, he wants people to stop dying, and he wants this to be solved at the negotiating
dude,
table.
these
The
people are
reason
like-
he is so deeply involved and has spent so much time and effort on this war is because he hates to see people dying. Again, these are not Americans that are being killed. These are Russians and
But
these
they're
are Ukrainians.
people.
This is a war very far away. But this president
Human
truly
beings
cares about peace,
dropping.
and that's what he wants to see.
What is President Trump doing to ensure that a similar internal drone attack doesn't
They
happen here in the
sodomized the
US,
motherland.
given this was done at pretty
The Golden Dome. The Golden Dome wouldn't even help you, bro.
low cost, very stealthily? You know, it obviously raises questions about our
Yeah,
own
well, hopefully there wouldn't be a war between the United States and Ukraine anytime soon. Realistically, I think the biggest threat to America is like the illegal immigrants and people that actually came into America.
security, particularly for US aircraft
That, and if, you know, Iran would end up getting nukes, obviously that would be the biggest threat.
here.
It absolutely does, and that's why the president nominated Secretary Hegseth and has approved some of the changes that have been made at the Pentagon to ensure that we have the most lethal fighting force in the world, and that the United States military is the best, the biggest.
And it
that's
is.
why he wants the one
The
big.
United States is the strongest country in the history of the world right now. Some people are pussies, but legitimately, the United States is the strongest country in the history of the world. And a lot of people don't know that.
Beautiful bill to be passed because it increases our defense spending. It's why he also launched the announcement of the Golden Dome to prevent from missile strikes and attacks in the future. And the president has a full understanding, I can tell you because I've spoken to him about it, about the future of warfare and how drones are a big part of that.
Yeah,
And
drones are going to completely take over warfare. Think about how crazy it is, and this is going to be real. AI powered drones that completely run through AI. That shit's gonna take over all of warfare. And it's crazy to think about it, because why have human tacticians when you can have AI tacticians? You're gonna have warfare that are gonna be 2 armies of drones, all controlled by AI, and the civilian population is just gonna wait for the results. That shit's crazy, but it's not even that far away. That is 10 years away.
I will not get ahead of our policy team, but I think you can expect to see some executive action on that front in the very near future. Caitlin.
2 questions for you as well.
It's CNN. Take out the cross. Take out your cross!
The big, beautiful bill. You said recently that it is, quote, blatantly wrong to say that it adds to the deficit. You essentially said that an estimate from the Congressional Budget Office and other scorekeepers you believe are wrong. But Republicans like Ron Johnson and Rand Paul disagree. They are saying that it will add to the deficit. That is their concern. Is the White House's position that those 2 Republican senators are, quote, blatantly wrong?
It is. Those senators, it's not news that they disagree with this president on policy, and the president has vocally called them out for it and for...
What even question is that? Like, I don't... Are you calling the senators wrong? Yes. Anyway.
They're not having their facts together. I would add the Congressional Budget Office has been historically wrong. In fact, they predicted the Trump tax cuts from the president's first term in 2017. Their prediction was wrong by $500 billion. Those tax cuts had nearly $500 billion more of revenue than the Congressional Budget Office scored. And I would also point out, I don't think many people know this, there hasn't been a single staffer in the entire Congressional Budget Office that has contributed to a Republican since the year 2000.
Wow.
But guess what? There have been many within the congressional that have contributed to Democrat candidates and politicians every single cycle since. So unfortunately, this is an institution in our country that has become partisan and political, and we are very confident in our own economic analyses of this bill. There is $1.6 trillion in savings, and our Office of Management and Budget Director, Russ Vought, is a fiscal hawk. He is well known in this city for being a well-respected fiscal hawk. He has tools at his disposal to produce even more savings.
Many tools.
And as you know, the White House will be sending our rescissions package to Capitol Hill today.
And on immigration, the other day that the Homeland Security Secretary said, and I'm quoting her now, that an illegal alien threatened to assassinate President Trump and highlighted his arrest. A man has now admitted to framing him, saying that he wrote the letter that the DHS Secretary Kristi Noem posted online. Last I checked before I came into the room, that post was still up from DHS. Does the White House expect them to issue a clarification or a correction on that
We
front?
can ask the Department of Homeland Security and get back to you.
All right.
Jeff.
Caroline.
Good answer. Moving on, away from the vampire. Moving on. Again, you have to realize it's still an illegal immigrant. It is someone that is in the country illegally.
Is the United States putting pressure on China to release its hold on rare earths?
China!
That are hurting car companies and technology companies now that require that for their products, and is that pressure working?
Well, I can assure you that the administration is actively monitoring China's compliance with the Geneva Trade Agreement. I know the United States, on our end, we have complied with the terms that we set, and our administration officials continue to be engaged in correspondence with their Chinese counterparts. And as you all know, and I know there's a lot of interest in it, there will be a leader-to-leader talk very soon. And when that happens, as always, we will let you know.
We'll see what happens.
Asia, just does the White House have a reaction?
China's pretty scary right now, not gonna lie. There's a lot of scary China shit going on. And I am very happy that they're kicking Chinese students that are literally in America purely to suck blood from the country. I genuinely am so happy that they're revoking the visas of people that are essentially here to fuck up America. And that's a dub. That's a huge dub. I'm happy we're taking this seriously. Oh, but think about the racism. Oh, shut the fuck up.
Reaction to the results of the election.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. South Korea got a communist fucking government. Uh-oh.
In fact, let me find it here for you.
Uh-oh.
Should be somewhere in here. Cute. We do not, but I will get you one.
All right.
Go ahead. Thanks, Caroline. 2 questions on trade. Is this letter that was sent to trading partners a sign that the president isn't satisfied with the pace of these negotiations? Is he trying to light a fire under these talks now?
Okay, I was exaggerating with communist, but yeah, you get the idea.
Well, look, the president has been very direct to our trading partners in his conversations with them and with foreign leaders directly that they need to cut deals with the United States of America.
Yeah, we have the cards. The United States has the cards. You don't have the cards.
The tariff agenda of this
You need
president.
us.
He
We
believes
don't
very
need you.
strongly in it. And as you've all seen, he's unafraid to use tariffs to protect our industries and protect our workers. But he wants to see these tailor-made deals be signed. And I will tell you, of course, I never want to be the one negotiating with the press about these internal discussions and deliberations.
Obviously.
But, our team, who is deeply involved in this, sees these deals moving in the right direction. In fact, Ambassador Greer is in Paris right now, meeting with many of our trading partners.
So we should still expect this flurry of deals in the next 36 days, and the plan is still for
That's
those
the
full
plan.
tariffs to go back into effect.
Nothing changed.
The plan is for the announcement of these deals to be made very, very soon, yes.
Good.
Thank you, Caroline. So Governor Whitmer confirmed that she spoke with President Trump about the possibility of pardoning the plotters against her in the kidnapping case. She didn't give us an idea of what the president's reaction was to that. Do you have any information about what he said?
Well, I won't reveal the president's private discussion unless he gives me liberty to, but I will reiterate what he said publicly when he was asked by one of the journalists in this room in the Oval Office a couple of weeks ago about the pardons. He said it's something he would look at, nothing more, nothing less.
All right.
Haley, go ahead.
Fair enough.
And then to Kelly next to you.
Thank you. When it comes to the leader-to-leader call with Xi Jinping this week, what is the president's expectation of this call? Is he looking for concrete outcomes out of this, or is he looking to kind of warm relations as these trade talks are ongoing?
Well, President Trump and President Xi have shared a respectful relationship throughout the years. And again, I won't get ahead of the president on that call, but as always, after, you'll hear directly from the president or from myself or someone else here at the White House. Kelly.
Caroline, thank you. I want to get back to the anti-Semitic behavior that's been going on college campuses, as well as recently in Boulder, Colorado. The president, as you know, has the White House Faith Office, the Religious Liberty Commission, as well as the Anti-Task Force on anti-Christian bias, which includes anti-Semitism. From a whole of government perspective,
I think it's important.
And the president has already mentioned.
For so long, people have essentially said you can insult Christians, you can insult white people, you can insult Jews, you can insult men. It was like the four horsemen of people you're allowed to literally be racist against in America. And I'm so happy it's over. I'm so happy it's over. And Asians also. Like, I'm so happy that shit's over.
How he hates these kinds of acts that have been going on. Can these entities and these agencies work together with the president to put out a proactive campaign to help people stop the hate?
I think
the only way you could, quote unquote, stop the hate is actually arrest instigators. Anyone that, in my opinion, is directly calling for violence or directly promoting terrorism or providing material support to terrorists, those guys need to get fucked up. Otherwise, it's not going to help. What are they supposed to do? Is he Donald Trump? I'm here. I'm stopping the hate. Look at me. I'm spinning a dreidel. Look at it go. Look at that little dreidel go. We all love Jews now. That's not going to work, bro. It's not going to happen, all right? It's not going to do it, okay? The only way you can actually do it is if there's repercussions to direct incitement of violence or direct material support to terrorism or whatever communist bullshit Hasan Piker is pushing. That type of shit. Or Nick Fuentes saying that they need to have a holy war to kill Jews in a holy war. That is a real quote from Nick Fuentes, far-right pundit, all right? Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, there are people that are saying insane shit out there. Like, radicalizing incitement to violence. That shit's criminal. That is not protected by freedom of speech. We have laws for a reason. Keep the laws that we actually have.
The president himself has been leading on this, Kelly, and has been incredibly clear in his rhetoric that he is not going to tolerate such hate or behavior in the United States.
We're not going to tolerate it.
You will see.
False flag, according to him. I don't care if it's what he says, false flag, not false flag. I mean the direct incitement to violence. Look, I'm a believer in freedom of speech, all right? I love freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is dope. You know what's not dope? Incitement to violence, which is literally illegal. Let me find it for you. All right, that is not helpful. It's not willing to show me the actual tweet because it's a hate tweet. Stop it! All right, well, I found the Jerusalem Post article about it. White supremacist Nick Fuentes, we will make Jews die in the holy war. Yes, it's a real thing that he said, okay? It's a real thing that he said. I'm not even joking. It's not the only article. All right, white supremacist Nick Fuentes calls for a holy war against Jews. Like, he's actually said this shit many times.
That rhetoric being followed up by action from the Department of Justice, who is seeking to prosecute these cases to the fullest extent of the law. And I know the Attorney General and the FBI Director were very quick to call this.
There are so many calls to assassination on the internet, like on TikTok and on Twitter and on Reddit, and on Twitch. Open calls to assassinate people. Like Donald Trump, for example. Open calls to assassinate Trump. This shit should get investigated. this actual incitement to violence, mostly on the left, let's be honest, is unreal, and definitely where I think a majority of this shit gets stirred up.
That's what it was, targeted
and foreign instigators. The billions of dollars that Qatar is sending into America, funding shit like, who knows, like all the different universities and stuff, and the foreign agitators. I think those are the avenues that you really need to clamp down on. I don't mean just sitting back and making statements about how you love people in your office. That shit's not gonna help.
Terrorism, and there was some, I think, criticism from the media, and at least pundits I saw on television saying, are they too quick to jump here? No, they see the facts and they reveal those to the American people, and they're transparent. And I think, frankly, that's a breath of fresh air from what we experienced in the previous administration.
Are there programs that they can put in place to campaign against this kind of violence, to actually take the whole approach and say, we want to get ahead of you. If you're thinking it, don't do it. And if you're going to do it, sit down and talk to someone within the Faith Office, within the Religious Liberty Commission, as well as the task force.
Bro, I actually found the clip.
We're in a holy war, and I will tell you this. Because we're willing to die in the holy war, we will make them die in the holy war.
He's talking about Jews. This is a real quote from a real speech that he actually gave, by the way. True story.
Yeah, surely. It's a good idea, and I'll pass it along to them. Peter.
Thank you, Caroline. When you look at these last-minute Biden pardons, the big ones.
Oh, God, dude. I can't wait to get to the Biden pardons. But here's another example of it. Shout out to this guy, Hasan Piker, leftist streamer.
$1 billion estimated that are lost every year in Medicaid, just in fraud alone.
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott, okay?
Yeah, that's the Senator of the United States, in case you were curious, all right? That's the Senator of the United States. So this shit's, I got to stop. Because when you have people say this in front of tens of thousands of people, it is inciting them to actually go ahead and do that shit, all right? And it's dangerous as fuck.
Biden siblings, Fauci, January 6th committee.
That's right.
Most of the big ones have the same very neat.
Oh my God, bro, actually, there's no way. There is no way this dude actually brought out the signatures from the Biden pardons. He is such an instigator, bro. Bro is here to stir shit up for real.
Signature.
Oh,
we expect that probably to be the auto pen. There is one that looks different. It looks authentic. In fact, if you look at the last name, it almost looks like the president was having a hard time spelling his last name there.
Yeah, I believe that sounds authentic.
Is this White House of the opinion that the only pardon that would count is one that the president signed himself?
It's very
fuck, man, that is a great dude. That is a crazy question. Holy!
Very interesting props. If you want to bring them to my office later, so I can take a closer look,
wow.
I would like to do that. The president is.
Dude, I approve with this shit stirring. Absolutely. Dude, had this shit-eating grin on her face, and she's just like, okay.
A good point when he discusses the usage of the auto pen. Who was running the country for the past 4 years? Perhaps those documents were signed with the auto pen, something that this, I believe the Department of Justice is looking into. As you saw, Ed Martin made an announcement at the Department of Justice this morning to launch an investigation because the American people deserve answers.
Is there any concern that this president, who won the election on a promise to fix the economy and close the border, that focusing and scrutinizing these Biden pardons is looking into the past instead of looking forward?
I think in comparison to the amount of time this president has spent on securing the border, on fixing our economy, I just read out for you an entire list of economic accomplishments. Look at the border numbers, look at the time and effort he's divulged into solving the global conflicts abroad. It pales in comparison, but it still, nevertheless, is a very important issue. And it was a huge issue that sent the president back to this White House. The Americans saw with their own eyes a mentally incompetent president, and they want answers for that. And the president believes they should have
And
them.
something that just crossed, Caroline, how mad do you think President Trump is going to be when he finds out that Elon Musk said, I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive outrage-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it.
All right. That is a great... I'm glad someone brought that up because Elon is currently beefing with the one big beautiful bill. I have a take about this. My opinion is this is a very good thing. He's not completely audience captured. He's not going to just constantly glaze Trump. He disagrees with Trump on the big, beautiful bill, and I think that is healthy for the country. See, I personally am literally a big fan of freedom of speech. I am fan of a democracy. In some ways, democracy is kind of shit. I really think we gotta repeal that. I don't think everyone should have the right to vote, but that's a discussion for another day. But that's a discussion for another day. I actually have the opinion that it is good to disagree and hone based on your opponents. I think that is a good thing. The fact that right now the Democratic Party is a literal waste paper basket of used tissues, all right? A group of retards sucking each other's feces, all right, with no good ideas, fighting for freaking biological men and women's sports and bathrooms and other ridiculous, literally 90-10 issues. Holy shit, stop. Because of stuff like that, they're so cooked, and it's, I think, unhealthy.
The president already knows where Elon Musk stood on this bill. It doesn't change the president's opinion. This is one big, beautiful bill, and he's sticking to it.
Yeah,
Taryn.
Thank you. The National Security Council was reorganized, or some staffing changes were made the Friday before Memorial Day. I'm hoping you can explain sort of the new structure, what the structure is of the National Security Council, what the goal is in terms of staffing levels. What is the new National Security Council mode?
Well, as with everything in this White House, it is a top-down approach. The president is here. He is president. He's not an auto pen like the previous president was. He's
Bro, you can't call Biden an auto pen, bro. Nah, dude, that's crazy.
very much involved in literally every policy discussion and decision that takes place. And we felt it was best to reorganize the National Security Council to respond to that top-down approach that we have here in this White House, and to streamline the efficiency and the effectiveness of the National Security Council. And I would add that Secretary of State Rubio and now National Security Advisor Rubio is doing a tremendous job
Rubio's great.
at leading the National Security Council. He knows the president. He understands where the president is on these issues. He's great to work with here at the White House.
I'm telling you, Rubio's going to be president of the United States. I'm not saying it'll be in 2028, not saying it'll be 2032, but he will be president of the United States. He's been fucking cooking.
Appreciate seeing him a lot more in the building, and he and the president and the entire National Security Council, who's made up of great patriots who love this country, are doing a tremendous job on the many conflicts around the world that this administration inherited.
Is there a staffing level?
I'm sorry?
Is there a goal for the staffing level?
No, there's no goal for that. It's getting a staff that could do the job, and if they're not doing the job, get them the fuck out of here. Why should I be paying people that aren't doing the job? I hate when these people do this. It's like, how many staff are going to be... Stop, bro. Stop.
A number of people who would be in this national...
We just want the
They want it to run, okay? They want to pay people to get it to run efficiently. That's it, okay? Not paying more people than they need to. Not getting less people than they need. They get the best they can. No DEI slop, all right? And they actually just get shit done.
Security Council to be as efficient as possible, and if staffing needs are necessary, I'm sure Secretary Rubio would not mind hiring people if necessary, but again, we've been working with them day in and day out, and they're chugging along and doing great work.
Good shit.
Sure.
Thank you, Caroline. Two questions, if I can. President Trump got involved himself in presidential election in Poland by supporting a conservative candidate who ultimately won.
Yeah, Polish Trump.
What does it mean for the future U.S.-Polish relations? What's likely to change?
Well, I believe
We have elected Polish Terminator. We love him. His hair is orange and his complexion looks like Trump.
President is obviously pleased to see the result of the Polish elections. He met with Karol Nawrocki, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Yes, Nawrocki. Okay, thank you. I appreciate your insight on that. He met with him at the White House, and he told them, you're going to win because you support common sense, and he supported strong borders. And
yeah, literally good things that happen. What's crazy? It's like dude, it's so fucking crazy. Our country should have borders. You racist. Oh my God. Should I get a Polish passport? I literally could get a Polish passport. I don't know. My grandparents were, they were Holocaust survivors from Poland. I can get a Polish passport. For the first time, I'm actually considering it. Not gonna lie.
In Poland, he supported an end to the woke, radical DEI stuff that we've seen not just here in the United States, but really take over Europe and frankly the whole world. He was very outspoken about that. And I was reading the reports about how the Polish people felt about this man, and they felt like he was putting the needs of Poland first. And
that's what every country should do. Every country needs to do this. Like, I don't know why this is like a controversial thing. It's like you have people in England, literally Pakistan first. Oh, why are you Pakistan first? You have people in England getting raped and murdered and shit. Like, come on, dude. No, Pakistan first, mate. We got to respect Pakistan for a second there.
That's a very refreshing feeling, one that we know very well here in the United States of America. So, as you know, the United States and Poland have always had a very deep and strong relationship, friendship. They're a great ally, and I know the president continues to look forward to working with them.
We have one more on Ukrainian drone attack on Russia. Was President Trump informed in advance by Ukraine?
I doubt it.
That the attack is coming.
I doubt it, and Ukraine did not need to do that. Trump is acting like an impartial mediator between the two, not calling anyone out specifically. Ukraine should not have told Trump. That's my opinion. Hot take. They did not need to tell Trump.
He was not. Carrie.
Karoline, so I just want to go back to the issue on the anti-Christian bias as well as issues like anti-Semitic issues. Senator Grassley just put out a report saying that the FBI files have shown that the Catholic group targeting was way more prevalent within the FBI during the Biden era than was previously shown, as far as former FBI Director Christopher Wray was putting out there during congressional testimony. Can you discuss here what President Trump would like to see in terms of consequences within the FBI as far as those who were involved? Also, it's the second question. If the DOJ finds that the auto pen was used by President Biden, should those actions that were used with the auto pen, should they be null and void?
I'm not going to get ahead of the Department of Justice's investigation into the usage of the auto pen. And the question is not, was the auto pen used? It's whether or not the President of the United States knew it was being used, and if not, who was using it in his name, which is clearly illegal behavior. Deanna.
Yeah.
Thanks, Caroline.
I so badly want to know. I want to know who ran the country. God damn it. I want to know who ran the country.
Foreign policy, one domestic, if I can.
Sure.
On foreign, just speaking to the president's Truth Social post about Iran recently, I'm saying that there will be no uranium enrichment. Is he saying that that's a red line for him, or no?
I already answered this question. The president's been very clear about where he stands on that.
Okay, and then on domestic...
Why do these people need to keep asking the same question 47 times? It's almost like they don't actually want an answer or something.
There's a report that Laura Loomer met with the vice president today.
What?
Can you speak to her relationship with the administration and if,
Laura Loomer, isn't she Laura Loomer? Recognize that name. Isn't that a journalist? It's like, why wouldn't a journalist meet up with the vice president? Why does this need to be something nefarious about that?
If she's informally advising in any way?
She is not. I do know she met with the vice president. As for what was discussed in that meeting, I would defer you to his team.
Thanks, Caroline. I had one question on anti-Semitism, one question on China. So for years, radical leftists...
China and anti-Semitism, the two big ones.
And Islamists have been calling for so-called globalize the Intifada.
I'm so glad people are actually finally talking about this. You don't understand what it's been like. You do not understand what it's been like to be a Jew in America, hearing people chant globalize the Intifada across the country. You have no idea how fucking insane it sounded. All right? Globalize the Intifada means kill Jews around the world. All right? That's the Intifada. All right? Globalize it means kill Jews around the world. And this was a chant, a public chant that was literally being chanted in college campuses, in streets, and it's fucking horrifying. All right? You probably don't know about this because, look, who the fuck knows what Intifada means? The only person who knows what Intifada means is, only Jews know what that shit means. Jews and Muslims. All right? Those are the only people that actually know what that means. And hearing that literally getting chanted, and it is a direct call to violence, and that is getting chanted in every street in America for like years, and Biden was just like, la 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 la.
Do you believe this is a call for violence against Jews? And do you think these attacks on Jews around our country is what globalizing the Intifada looks like?
I don't want to speak to the merits of those claims without looking into them, but as I said, any violence against Jewish Americans will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Absolutely. And also, Secretary of State Rubio made an announcement saying he'll be revoking visas of certain Chinese students, including those with connections to the Chinese Communist Party. Does that include sons and daughters of politicians, presidents, and chairmen?
Who cares?
Again, Secretary of State Rubio.
Literally, who cares? Well, why would you treat them any differently? Huh?
has the right to revoke visas, and he made the announcement that the State Department will begin to aggressively revoke those visas of Chinese students who are in our country, namely those with Chinese Communist Party ties, or those who could be a threat to our national security and the interests of the United States. To both of you, yeah, go ahead and then. Yeah.
Thank you. There are now reports that Israeli forces are firing on Palestinians trying to get aid from the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Up to 20 people, according to the Red Cross, have arrived to the hospital that they've set up with gunshot wounds, have died from them. Is this administration aware of these? And I mean, what is being done to address this situation?
The administration is aware of those reports, and we are currently looking into the veracity of them. Fortunately, unlike some in the media, we don't take the word of Hamas with...
Fucking finally. Holy based. Oh my god. You have no idea how awesome it is to hear someone actually talk about these details in real life. Dude, when you get every media pundit on the planet, the fucking retards at the BBC, and Hasan, and every leftist pundit on the planet, literally just echoing Hamas claims. They're terrorist, rapist, murderers, baby killers. Like, why the flying shit do we take them at face value literally ever? Oh my god! Holy based! Bro!
Total truth, we like to look into it when they speak. Unlike the BBC, who had multiple headlines. They wrote, Israeli tank kills 26. Israeli tank...
I am so happy she's bringing this shit up. You have no idea. You have no idea how happy I am that they are literally bringing this up. Hasan, dude, if you didn't watch my Hasan Piker's 550% fucked video, which should be out by the time this one's out, you will know exactly what I am talking about. Because he directly promoted this exact shit. Let me show you. This is Hasan retweeting a debunked article from the New York Times saying Israeli troops opened fire near a Gaza aid site. The military said Gazan officials, right, Hamas, said 27 people were killed. And Hasan says this is as close to a non-passive voice headline as you're going to get from the premier contextualizers of Israeli violence. Tide shift. Use the momentum. Keep up the pressure. Do not succumb to pessimism. This is him literally signaling a already debunked fake news article, propaganda pushed by Hamas terrorists, okay? Directly pushing this shit into this is a blood libel. For those of you that don't know what blood libels are, this is an ancient act where, people would blame Jews for murdering babies as an excuse to murder Jews. This is literally blood libels, and they don't care about the truth. So the crazy thing is, this New York Times article was before the verification, and it was then verified. It was then verified that it was fake, and Hamas murdered their own people. But by the time Hasan made his tweet, it was already verified. And he retweeted this anyway, knowing it was verified that Hamas murdered their own people, which is insanity. Complete and utter insanity.
Tank kills 21. Israeli gunfire kills 31. Red Cross says 21 people were killed in an aid incident. And then, oh wait, they had to correct and take down their entire story.
Yep, they
saying
did.
We reviewed the footage and couldn't find any evidence of anything.
Yes! I covered this in Hasan Piker. Hasan Piker is 550% fucked. These propagandist, terrorist dick suckers are literally causing violence. They are. Because when you make these claims, talking about, you don't understand what the claim is. The claim is Israel is giving food to hungry people in Gaza to lure them to them so they could then murder them. That's the claim Hasan is making, when in reality, Hamas murdered their own people because they didn't want them to take food from Israel and America. So they murdered their own people to blame it on Israel instead. And Hasan and the BBC and the New York Times, they jump on the fucking Hamas terrorist propaganda train and literally push that shit. And the BBC took down their article. After 100 million people read the article, 100 million people read the article. And then they're like, oops, sorry, we had no evidence to this article. Oops, my bad. We had nothing, we had no evidence at all.
Oh, okay. So we're going to look into reports.
Oh, she's fucking cooking.
Before we confirm them from this podium or before we take action. And I suggest that journalists who actually care about truth do the same to reduce the amount of misinformation that's going around the globe on this.
Oops, we lied. By the way, this is like the 10th lie that I've seen come out of the basic media in this regard in like the last 2 weeks. I don't know if any of you remember the 14,000 babies hoax. There was a hoax that was pushed where they said 14,000 babies in Gaza were going to die of starvation in the next 48 hours. Yeah, no, that didn't happen. And then they quickly deleted that article and were like, oh, did we say 14,000 babies are going to die in the next day? We meant die in the next year if no food comes in. No shit. No shit. They're gonna die if no food comes in the next year. Like, what is even happening? And the amount of hoaxes that get pushed again and again and again, and you get literal terrorist, cum-guzzling dick suckers like Hasan Piker on Twitch pushing that shit. And to be honest, the BBC, I don't know what the fuck they've been doing.
This front.
John. About the change in the leadership of the organization, what does that mean going forward, and why so early on is this happening?
Oh, dude, Hasan is fucking. He's gonna be mad. He's gonna be mad. He's not gonna react to this. He claims he's news, but he's not gonna react to this.
What organization?
Humanitarian Foundation.
Well, look, this was a creative idea that the president called for to get aid into the region. These people were desperate and starving, and the president didn't like seeing imagery of that, and he wanted to ensure that aid was brought in with the approval of Israel for understandable reasons. We will never forget the brutal attack on October 7th. And again, this is something that the previous administration was unwilling to put the time and effort into doing. John.
Incredibly massive W Trump. By the way, in case you wanted some extra details, 3 days later, the Washington Post admits, oops, we blindly trusted Hamas and ran a story without doing any journalism. The early versions fell short of the Post standards of fairness, and oops, we shouldn't have published it. Yeah, it got millions of views, but oops, we published it. My bad. Oopsie poopsie. Another hot take, in case you're curious, this is Hamas announcing field executions of Palestinians who got food. What? Huh? What are we talking about? What are you talking about? No, that's not normal. That is not normal. All right, and dude, you get tons of these clips of people in Gaza thanking Trump for food. Bless Trump. Thank you, Trump. May the one who feeds me, may God bless him. Trump feeds us while Hamas starves us. God bless the Americans. They're giving us flour and food. Yeah, this isn't in the media. This Hasan won't report, obviously. But yeah, no, it's crazy. It's crazy seeing this shit happen.
Thanks a lot, Karoline. I want to bring it back to the way you began your briefing, talking about the president's mass deportation program and his priorities. 40%.
Just to be clear, I think this is important to mention also. The people that are pro-Hamas are anti-Palestinian. They are anti the Gazan civilians. If they're pro-Hamas, they hate the Palestinians. Okay? Because the Palestinians are protesting against Hamas. Hamas is executing them for eating Israeli food, okay? They are the villains. Hamas are terrorist motherfuckers. Holy shit.
Crop farm workers in the U.S. are undocumented, and that's according to the Agriculture Department. Do they have a carve-out in terms of the president's mass deportation program?
The president and the Trump administration have been very clear. If you are in the country illegally, you are subject to deportation.
Base! Are you concerned that, given that large number, if that number is correct, 40% of crop farm workers being undocumented, that could impact the food supply here in America if those individuals that obviously help pick crops all across the country are deported en masse?
Again, this administration is focused on deporting individuals who are in our country illegally. It's something we have to do. We cannot allow the previous administration's invasion of our country of illegal immigrants to continue. We just can't have it. And this is a law and order president. As for our farmers and their concerns,
crazy even
they
listening
have
to this,
a president who has their backs.
People literally yammering and jammering. Dude, are they in the country illegally? Yes? Get them out. It is that simple. You know, it really is that simple. There's a line of people trying to get into the country legally. Why are we rewarding the ones that broke in? Like, I don't even know. I don't even fucking know, man.
And listens to their concerns and hears them, but we also have a legal pathway to come to this country and work specifically for agricultural work. So there's a legal way to do it, and we encourage that legal pathway, and we're currently working on strengthening our legal immigration system for that reason. Sure.
Thank you, Karoline. I just wanted to follow up on your statement last week regarding the report. Sure. You said that there was, I understand there were some formatting issues with the Maha report that are being addressed, and that report will be updated. We also understand that since that, there have been some citations that came about. There's citations of studies that either did not exist or did not back up the report's conclusions. So when you were referring to formatting errors, is that what you were talking about, or was it, could you just explain that?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. There were formatting errors, and those
Good job.
errors were updated by by the proper
We fixed that.
policy
Nice.
here
Love
at
that.
the White House, and
Great
a new
question.
report was issued. So
You
exactly
cooked.
what I said took place. Sure, go ahead, Alec.
Look at the passive-aggressive face.
And a new report was issued. So exactly what I said took place.
Yep. You know how I said something would happen, and then it happened? It happened.
Sure, go ahead, Alec.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Congresswoman Mary Miller suggested that changing Pride Month to Family Month. I would personally like to see maybe a nuclear family month. Some people are saying
nuclear. Drop the N-bomb.
Let's get a Veterans Month. Does the president have any plans on making a proclamation, or is it just going to be June this year?
Oh my god, dude. What? Everything needs a fucking month. Like, why are we doing this, bro? Oh my god. Do people not know Pride is a sin? I don't understand. Like, that, dude, when they wrote this shit, when they came up with Pride Month, there had to be some sort of, like, understandable irony there, right? Like, you know Pride is a sin. They named it a sin. It's like, it's absolutely insanity. It's like, hey guys, we're starting a new movement. We're calling it the Wrath Community. May is now Wrath Month, all right? What are we doing, guys?
Well, there are no plans for a proclamation for the month of June, but I can tell you...
It'll be Gulf of America month. We will be remembering how the Gulf of America is renamed. No more dead names.
This president is very proud to be a president for all Americans, regardless of race, religion, or creed. Reagan, go ahead.
So you can't be proud of your kid? Are you retarded on purpose, or are you doing it by accident? I don't mean to insult you, person in chat. I'm just asking a genuine question.
And then I'll go to you.
Thank you.
Obviously, everything to an extreme is evil. No shit, everything to an extreme is evil. Lust is bad, but that doesn't mean you're not allowed to be attracted to your wife. What are you even talking about?
Colorado passed sanctuary protections for illegals 1 month before the terrorist attack this weekend. 2 questions. Why did the DHS remove the sanctuary cities list that it had published, which was ordered by the president? And then what is the administration going to do to further crack down on sanctuary jurisdictions to prevent attacks like what happened in Colorado?
Sure. The Department of Homeland Security will be issuing a new list of sanctuary cities, an accurate list of sanctuary cities. As for what we're doing to crack down, the president has signed various executive orders and has directed the Attorney General to prosecute federal, state and local officials who are not complying with federal immigration authorities and, most importantly, federal immigration law.
Thanks, Caroline.
Thank you, Caroline.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much. So, does the president take calls from foreign leaders on the tariffs on steel and aluminum? Does he still intend to double them tomorrow morning?
The president will be signing that executive order today, and steel and aluminum tariffs will be going to 50%, yes.
No way it's going to change, or it's going to be suspended?
He made that announcement in Pennsylvania, and he plans to deliver on that promise.
Yep, the thing that he said he's gonna do is the thing he's gonna do. It's a novel concept in America, but yep.
To Pennsylvanians. And why is he hiding? And Ed, go ahead. Yes. I can answer that, but go ahead, Ed.
Oh, yes, thank you. So a Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson today said that the U.S. imposed harmful measures like new chip controls and pledging to revoke Chinese student visas. So are the Chinese the victims in this trade back and forth?
Victims? Victims? Okay, you need to leave. Now! No, stop with the victim shit. No more neo-Marxist, oppressor, oppressive, oppressee, oppressed, super oppressor, victims bullshit. No more of this narrative. Victims? Holy Lord. Bro, dude, what are we even talking? Actual retard detected. Bro, China has been hiking up tariffs on America for years. We are the victims, okay? Stop. What is even happening? Bro.
Look, I don't think anyone is the victim. These are two countries. And
two strong countries that could handle themselves and that are trying to find the best thing possible for their own civilians. Yeah.
Said the president has a good relationship with China's president and leader, and that discussion will take place later this week.
And what other authorities is the president looking at for tariffs should the decision in the appeals court not go his direction?
Well, right now, his tariffs remain in effect. We spoke at length in my briefing last week about that decision that came down from the International Trade Court, which has been put on pause because the president absolutely does have the authority to implement tariffs and to declare a national emergency for our crippling trade deficit. He could always have the power to use Section 202 or Section 301 as well to impose tariffs if he deems necessary, especially Section 202 tariffs, which are sectoral, as you know, to protect our critical supply chains here at home.
Thanks, Caroline.
You're welcome.
You've got U.S. business leaders begging for certainty. So why did the president suddenly decide to hike
tariffs on steel and aluminum again.
You also have U.S. business leaders begging to meet with this president and begging.
Everyone wants
to
a piece
the
of the
White
Trump.
House, talk
Everyone
to him
wants
because
some
they
Trump.
know that he is a negotiator in chief, that he's making good deals on behalf of the American worker and the steel worker, in particular when it comes to the steel and aluminum tariffs, which he discussed in his speech at length at Pennsylvania, and the need for them. And I would just add, I was at that speech on Friday with the president, and there were 2,000 steel workers and their families in the room, many of them wearing their hard hats. I spoke to one backstage who said this is the greatest thing that has happened for that community in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 60 years, because this is a president who doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk too, and he's delivering on his promises to bolster our steel and aluminum industries in this country and to protect those
Everyone's
jobs.
like, wait a second, the president actually follows through with the things he promises the American people, but the last president, I mean, the auto pen didn't do that.
If not for this president, that steel plant in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania would have closed. Those jobs would have been lost. And the president saved that company, he saved those jobs, and he's saving that community. And that's the intention of the steel tariffs, which he will sign later this afternoon. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you.
That was a really great press briefing, I'm not gonna lie. Hasan Piker is literally 550% fucked right now. He is so fucked, it's like 550% fucked. Holy shit, she cooked so hard. She cooked so hard. Get the fucking terrorists out of here. Enough of the terrorists, enough of the foreign nationals, enough of the immigrants and the illegal people that directly want to destroy Western civilization. Enough of all of that shit. Dude, absolute cooking. That was today's episode of Cooking with Karoline. Definitely subscribe to keep you up to date with all the bullshit. We will continue harassing people if they deserve it, and insulting people if they deserve it. If they're retards, we will call them retards. It's what we do. It is my God-given right. And I will continue doing that. I'll see you in the next one, gamers. And remember, stay weird, fam. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.